Hi friends, it's Redneck Buddha and you're here to see if I can beat all the bosses in Bloodborne with no melee weapons. As mentioned a second ago, this is an all bosses run. The only rule is that I cannot use any melee damage at all to damage enemies. I can still use it to chop things down and break things, but that's about it. I'm allowing myself the use of the special dungeon just to make resource farming easier. I cannot put any of these echoes towards levels. You want to see this run in its entirety? The full run will be uploaded to my Vods channel that's linked in the description. With that being said, let's get into the run. First things first, we have to create the man that will be taking on Yharnam. Since he isn't going to be whacking things, I figured an old, mad, sickly looking magic man would do the trick. As you can tell by the name, we're going to be focusing on arcane for this run, so most of our points will be put there. That means that guns are going to be pretty much useless as far as damage goes, but they will still be useful for parrying. Normally when we parry enemies, we take a visceral attack and do a bunch of damage. Unfortunately for us though, visceral attacks count as melee damage. So for us, the parry is only going to be valuable due to the extra stagger damage that enemies take when they're in the parried state. I'm not entirely sure what the specific multiplier for extra damage that you do is when enemies are staggered, but it's definitely worth taking the opportunity when you can. After gracefully running past the werewolf without any issues whatsoever, we pick up our starting weapon. I like the hunter pistol just because it's what I'm familiar with, but the blunderbuss will definitely work if you like it better. The first part of this run is going to be very consumable heavy. So on the way to the first boss, I grab every item that I can find to sell and the music box. But I'm especially on the lookout for Molotovs. These are going to carry us pretty heavily through quite a bit of the base game. The first boss that we test is Big Daddy G.
Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them, sooner or later.
And as you can see, when you parry him and then throw a Molotov, it does a good chunk of damage. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to first try him, but after selling all the shinies we collected and a quick trip to the bowling alley,
Nice throw!
we were able to buy more Molotovs and get our pistol +1. I then decided it was time to see how the Cleric Beast deals with fire. Turns out it does decent damage, but due to janky hitboxes and me forgetting that oil urns exist, I just didn't have enough damage to deal with him right now. Back to farming. After a few more bowling runs and some blood vial farming off the big guys, we bought more Molotovs, and it was time to take another stab at Father Gascoigne. This time it took all my Molotovs and a whole lot of parrying, but on attempt number 2, he goes down. Let's go! All fucking 10 of them, baby. All fucking 10 of them, but we got him. Unfortunately, after this, inflation gave me the middle finger and made Molotovs 380 echoes apiece, meaning that the farm for each missed Molotov would be even worse than before. After restocking on Molotovs and raising my arcane to 16, it was time for Blood-Starved Beast. On the way there, I grabbed a fire paper from Alfred to sell and killed a werewolf to see if I could find a better echo farm than before. It was well worth it. I also assisted Jura in falling to his death and was disappointed by how few echoes he gave. Only 875? Come on now. But on a positive note, I checked the shop after picking up his badge and discovered I was now able to purchase rope Molotovs, which will give me more firepower, and oil urns, which will make that firepower burn for even more. Now there's still the issue of everything being way too fucking expensive, but if I can get past Blood-Starved Beast, that particular problem will no longer be an issue. In this first run, I came in with 2 oil urns and a full inventory of Molotovs. To be fair, I probably had the damage output, but with her dancing around everywhere and my poor aim causing me to miss throws, it would have been really tight. Fortunately, now that I had figured out oil urns exist, I definitely had the damage if I stocked up on them. All it would take is me farming some werewolves and the ability to execute. Since Molotov scale with Arcane, and I was going to be using that for the run anyways, I decided to spend some echoes getting it to 24, which allowed me to one-shot the werewolves and make the consumable farm much easier. So we get this guy from the back. This definitely helped, and a short time later, it was time for round 2 with BSB. This time I came prepared with 10 oil urns and 10 Molotovs. Even though from software hitboxes are a thing, we managed to put the beast to sleep, and it only took all of our Molotovs and urns. Alright, let's start beast dead. Yep, all ranged builds, I'm sure most of you know this method already, but for those of you who don't, if you go to a tombstone on the left side of the Hunter's Dream and type in this code, you'll get to a dungeon where you can stand in the corner and make a shit ton of echoes in a matter of seconds. You search chalices by glyph. There's a lot of like bloodstone charming or blood gemstone farming that you can do with this. Seeing as this is extremely overpowered, I decided to only use this for buying consumables and cannot level with this method. Next, I decided it was time to head back to Cleric Beast, who went down without much issue. Yeah! Yeah! Fucking let's go! Then we headed to one of my favorite bosses in the game, Vicar Amelia. Of course, we have to grab a third of an umbilical cord on the way, for whatever reason, and then it's time to test our luck with the dear lady herself. Normally this fight is pretty crazy, with her wide sweeping attacks and AoEs, but when you just run away and throw things, those aren't much of an issue. An issue I did run into, however, was that I ran out of normal mollies and oil urns, so I had to use rope Molotovs to put out extra damage. The issue with rope Molotovs is they have very short range and they're thrown directly behind you. This means that you have to unlock the camera on a giant boss that you can already barely see and face away from it just to hope that you're in range to hit her. After dying and barely outputting any damage, ow. Yeah, that's gonna suck. That's really gonna suck. Oh god. I decided to head to Yharnam to take on Parl. That didn't go well.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
We did unalive some bagmen though, pushed our arcane up to 27. After that, I decided to give Amelia another try and got this surprisingly easy kill. I was not trying to throw an actual Molotov. Of course he threw it that way. Oh, okay. First try, Amelia. All right, well, I guess not first try, but first try the Scream Amelia. That wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. With Amelia out of the way, we pump our arcane to 30, and it's time for the witches. After entering the boss arena, we bold hunter mark out, spend all of our insight, sell everything we just bought, raise our vitality to 12, and then it's time for the fight. I quickly figured out that you're able to get 2 rope Molotovs off before the witch teleports, but with only 10 of them, we're going to have to use our oil fire combo for the rest of the damage. The timing for the combo is a little tight, but even despite that, the witches are defeated without much issue. Alright, so we died to witches. Let's go. That was amazing. Well done. Well done, witches. Well done. Well, maybe a little issue. For real this time. One of you caught me. Please don't be a one-shot. It's a one-shot if they catch you? Bro, that's twice, man. Okay, third time's the charm. Yes, let's go. Third time's the charm. And with that, we pick up the rune workshop tool and head into the woods. We're not here for the shadows just yet, but for one particular item. If you follow my path, what's just so my weapon does more damage? Especially if I get like a cannon or something. we can get a free kill here. Normally I do the skip, but let's not do the skip this time. Because we need to go the normal way. In order to get to Puppy Dog. We'll do the skip on the second time through. That way I can get my usual run of wins. Call it good. Beautiful. And yep. That's cool. Looked like a little hole I could almost go into for a second. It'd be really cool if you could explore like back in those caverns a little bit. Ignore the copious amounts of bodies right here. I'm sure it's fine. I also don't remember what this item is. I always end up grabbing it, and it's never worth it, but my curiosity has me piqued again. Advanced knowledge. Alright. Those things sound so gross, man. They sound so gross. Made it to the clinic. Grab whatever this is. Communion room. Beautiful. Head up here. Talk to my lady. We'll put her out of her misery this time. We normally leave her alive, but I don't want to leave her as a monstrosity. So we'll put her out of her misery this time. Hello, ISFka. You'll find the Canehurst summons, which we can take to this pillar in the witch's area, where two definitely alive horses will take us to Canehurst Castle. We'll be back for Mr. Logarius later, but right now we're looking for one specific item, the Executioner Gloves. When used, these things shoot out ghost spirits that home in on whoever you're locked onto and do some damage at the cost of 3 quicksilver bullets. Next, we head back to the Forbidden Woods and let gravity do what gravity does.
You scoff at the League.
Oh, that was unfortunate. Oh man, unfortunate number 2. What the hell? I mean, if you really wanted to give me the whistle, sure, thank you. This gives us another hunter's tool, Madara's Whistle, but since it scales off of Blood Tinge, it'll be pretty pointless to us in this run. We take the free echoes that the hunters so generously donated to us and put them into Arcane. Now it's time for Shadows of Yharnam. I'll be honest, I was pretty concerned about this fight, and as it turned out, I was right to be. I could not dodge their snakes for the life of me. It took me 4 tries, but after learning how to hit the circle button, I slowly but surely figured out a strategy. If you parry, oil earn, parry, Molotov, the melee guy takes huge damage. After he's down, the Executioner Gloves can have their time to shine. The Shadows had a difficult time dodging them, and since you can create quicksilver bullets out of your own blood, you can just spam them until they're all dead. Shadows down, baby! Let's go! Yeah, buddy. Next up is a Vacuous Spider named Rom, and let me tell you, this man was a wall. I quickly figured out that one cast of the Executioner Gloves would normally take out a small spider, but that burned through way too many of our resources, and I died trying to clear out the spiders. I tried ignoring the spiders, but that ended up with death as well. Damn it, got comboed. After many deaths, a combination of rope Molotovs, the oil earn Molotov combo, Executioner Gloves, and luck finally did the trick. It did. Yes, Rom dead, let's go. After that, I decided it was time to take a break from bosses for a minute and go gather some more tools. We headed through Yahar Gul to grab the upper cathedral key and the tiny Tonitrus. Then, it was time to head towards the Blue Goobers, because they have another hunter's tool hidden right behind them. After narrowly avoiding the suck, it was time for Celestial Emissary. They are simple enough, a little bit of fire, and a few Executioner Gloves later, the Goobers go down. I then completely forgot about A Call Beyond, and decide that it's a good idea to go after Parl for some reason. It works out. Yep, much easier. I don't know why, but the One Reborn is normally a wall for me, and in this run, it was no different. My original thought process was to use the Tiny Nitrous, since it has multiple lightning bolts that chain back to back to back. Unfortunately though, this only counts as one instance of damage. On the plus side, however, it does stagger the boss in one cast, at the cost of 6 bullets. This doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but could definitely provide an opening. I quickly came up with a plan. We used the Executioner Gauntlet for the mages, and the Tiny Nitrous to stagger the boss. With him down, I could unload all of my rope Molotovs without any danger. The rest of the fight was just chucking oil urns and Molotovs, and with that, the One Reborn goes down on the 5th try. Alright, One Reborn down. Let's go, fucking finally. The plan is to head to Amygdala next, but first we make a pit stop for the Augur of Ebrietas, and realize that we forgot a call beyond in the Upper Cathedral Ward. After finally grabbing it, we decide to give Ebrietas a try. We test out a call beyond, but the damage is unreliable. I mean, I got insta-killed because she dashed, but like, that's some chunky damage. So we ultimately decide to just spam Executioner Gauntlets and throw mollies. Ebrietas dead, let's go! Simple, but effective. I then remember to grab another third of an umbilical cord and head to Amygdala. I'm just gonna let you watch this one. Yeah. That's correct. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. Sure. We are now heading to my least favorite boss in the game, Micolash.
No one can catch us. No one can stop us now.
Yeah, I'll shut you up in a second. From running around in circles constantly to being able to one-shot me in phase 2, this man drives me as insane as he is. I decided that I wanted to make this a mimic fight and use the same thing that he uses on me, but of course, we're doing no damage. Augur does knock him down though, so maybe we can use that to our advantage. I decided to save my Quicksilver bullets for phase 2 in hopes that I could keep him on his ass repeatedly. And it was a great idea. First try Miko. Next up is Mergo's Wet Nurse. Nothing much to see here. We use a bunch of Executioner gloves and some tentacles for style. First try Mergo. After slurping up some umbilical cords like they're ramen noodles, it's time for my favorite base game boss, Martyr Logarius. We died quite a few times here, but ultimately settled on a strategy of oil urn and Molotov for phase 1 and parry Augur for phase 2 and 3. The original plan was to stick with oil urns and Molotovs for phase 2 as well, but I ran into one problem. And if I had been taking my studies at the Firebomb Academy seriously, I would have recognized this before I ever tried it. Headmaster Lemon and his Can You Beat Bloodborne with Only Molotovs run discovered that on phase 2, Martyr Logarius is immune to throwables. Bro, that shit just fucking bounced off of him. Did y'all see my fucking Molotov just bounce off that dude? The link to his channel, the Backlogs, and that specific video is in the description, by the way. Go check him out for some incredible challenge runs. Nevertheless, the parry strategy works, and on try number 5, Logarius is given a death by noodles. Let's fucking go! Hell yeah! Hell yeah! He gave it to me 3 times in a row. Now it's time for the DLC. First up on the chopping block is Ludwig. This man-horse thing is one of my favorite bosses in the game, but he always gives me a challenge. I used everything in my arsenal to try and beat this guy. Oil urns and Molotovs. I need to nitrous. Call beyond. Nothing was working, so I decided that it was time to do the one thing that I'm really bad at. Get good. I threw on Augur for a while, and that was doing okay, but ultimately I settled on a strategy of oil urns and Molotovs for most of phase 1, and the noodle arm for the rest. After almost an hour and a half of attempts, and with just 1 blood vial remaining, we finally get it done. The first brick wall of the DLC gets crushed under the weight of 1,000 tentacles. It's finally time to get our last tool of the run, which we oh so desperately need. The Black Sky Eye. This is located outside of the asylum area in the gardens, and when you use it, it shoots some sort of projectile out of your eyeball and does decent damage. The living failures aren't much to talk about. A healthy mix of Augur, Black Sky Eye, and the Executioner's Glove will put them down before you know it. Now it's time for my favorite boss in the series, Lady Maria.
A corpse should be left well alone.
Yes, ma'am. As much as I wanted this fight to be difficult and to do the beautiful dance that it is, the power of the Executioner Gloves is just too strong. She tries to dodge the initial cast of the tool and just walks into the actual ghost. So unfortunately, our dance ends on the first try. Alright, goodbye Maria. I knew it was going to either be really easy or really hard. It was definitely really easy. We now have a choice on who to go after next. We can either take on the hardest boss in the DLC, or my least favorite boss in the DLC. Due to my burning hatred for Laurence, we head to Orphan of Kos instead. Kos is a menace like always, but that new hunter tool we just picked up helps out a lot here. It shoots quickly, which allows us to get damage in when other tools wouldn't. So with a healthy dose of fire for phase 1 and a lot of eyeballs for phase 2, Orphan is defeated on the third try. Orphan fucking dead, let's go! Unfortunately, we left Laurence until last. This man hits like a truck and takes very little damage from attacks. Unfortunately for him though, he doesn't really know how to deal with ranged attacks, so phase 1 is easy enough, just spam gloves at him until he breaks in half. You know what, since it worked out so well in phase 1, might as well do it on phase 2 as well. We did start to run out of resources towards the end, so for the final little bit of his health bar, we switched to the eye. But overall, it was an easy fight. First try Laurence. We are now on to the final 2 fights of the game, our old friend Gehrman, and the reason we were ingesting umbilical cords earlier, Moon Presence. Gehrman is just as susceptible to the parry noodle strat as Logarius was, and Moon Presence is deathly allergic to gloves and eyeballs. They both go down on the first attempt, no restock needed. And with that, we have beaten all of Bloodborne without using a single melee attack. If you guys made it this far, I truly appreciate it. This is my first video where I've done an absolute ton of editing and script writing, so I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment to let me know what challenge runs you would like to see next and what I can improve on in these videos. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Don't you dare go hollow.